Hey guys, welcome to another Wisdom of the Masters. I am Sean Webb. Today's wisdom comes from Albert Einstein. Yeah, the guy on this t-shirt, the guy on that poster over my left shoulder, you might be able to tell I'm a little bit of a fan. We'll use a number of his sayings in the future, but today's is a doozy and one of my favorites. It goes like this. The true value of a human being can be found in the degree to which he has attained liberation from the self. So right off the bat, we are confronted with something that has a lot of weight, a lot of gravitas. One of the smartest men in the world saying, hey, listen up. This is one of the most important statements that can help define the value of your whole life. The true value of a human being can be found in the degree to which he has attained liberation from the self. Now, the first thing I'd like to point out to you is his use of the word attained. Attained is a verb that suggests that we don't have something and we need to get that thing that we're talking about. You don't have it when you're born, and you hopefully will have it by the time you're dead. So somewhere in between the time of your birth and your death, you're going to be able to attain whatever it is that we're talking about. In this case, we're talking about attaining liberation from the self. Now, there are a number of definitions and nuances that we could try to apply to this saying if we don't completely understand where Einstein is coming from, but there's only one understanding of this statement that we can apply if we do understand where Einstein is coming from, and so hopefully we'll be able to unearth that in the next few seconds. The concept of the self is a very specific concept and a very specific definition, and certainly from someone coming from the point of mind mastery and from an enlightened perspective to understand the depths of the human mind and how it all works soup to nuts, Einstein would be talking about this specific purpose within the brain. So let's back up a second. The brain itself in your head is your organ of survival, right? It's the thing that helps you remember where the food and water is, to figure out how to build shelter. It is the thing that helps you identify threats and run from the dangers that exist in the world. Well, there's a special portion of your brain called the limbic system. And the limbic system is that thing within your brain that helps you identify those threats. It's the thing that's always going through all of your senses saying, is this a threat? Is this a threat? Is this a threat? Is this person a threat? Is this idea a threat? Is that thing on the ground a snake, or is it a coiled hose, right? The limbic system is a very primitive portion of your brain, and it's the thing that's automatically analyzing everything around you for potential threats. However, in that charter, a second question must be asked. Okay, I get that I'm supposed to be protecting all of us from threats, from the limbic system's perspective, right? But a threat to what? Can I get a laundry list of the things that we need to protect, please? Because protecting us from absolutely everything would be friggin' nuts. I don't know whether that leafcutter ant is going to be a threat to us or not, unless I know that we have leaves. So please give me the definition of self that we can understand, that can help me identify what the threats are and what the threats aren't, because we don't want to waste all of our energy. That is what is the physiological requirement within the brain that creates the self. It is a physiological self-defense mechanism that's the laundry list of things that the brain needs to understand who and what we are so that it can help us define what's a threat to us and what's not a threat to us. And so this includes, of course, our body, which is why you flinch when the baseball's flying at your head and you dodge it automatically without even thinking about it. But it's also the thing that adds the other ideas of self to our laundry list of things that must be protected, such as the people around us, right? Which is why we get nervous when somebody else that we love is under threat. Or it's our job, which is why we get nervous or have fear when our job is facing potential layoffs in the future. Or it's our stuff, which is why we worry about the house burning down. Or it's our ideas, our religion, our politics, which is why we get all up in arms when those things are attacked. There's this laundry list of things in our mind that creates our mind's self. And so anytime that anything on your self list or your self map is brought under threat, then that's when our emotions arise, driving us into action, etc. But the funny thing is that this identification of self is also the driving force behind all of our pain and suffering internally, and the driving force behind all of our pain and suffering globally, societally, in that it's the base of all selfishness. It's the base of all attacking others so as to defend ideas of self. It's the base of all violence. It's the base of all the stuff in the world that we could call evil the self is connected with every one of those processes. And if you want to understand this a little better, you can pick up the book that I wrote about it called Mind Hacking Happiness, which not only explains all the stuff that we're talking about here, but explains the variables in your mind that you can then take control of and change your mind's output. So if you're interested in digging a little deeper, that's the place you can go there to understand the whole thing soup to nuts. But what Einstein's talking about when he's talking about liberation from the self is that laundry list of things in your brain that you then must protect at all costs. And so he says the value of a human being can be measured in the degree to which everyone has attained liberation from that process within their mind that puts you in number one spot. When we're being altruistic, when we're being compassionate, when we're being empathetic, we're thinking not of ourselves, we're being generous to others. We're thinking of others first. And the greatest heroes in the world that we put up on a pedestal are the folks who put others first, the firefighters, the police officers, the first responders. All those people put other people first to be a higher value human being. And that's exactly what Einstein was talking about when he was talking about the value of a human being can be measured or found in the degree to which they have attained liberation from the self. Because at the point that you take this self, this laundry list, this map of things that must be defended, and you separate from it a little bit, you've attained liberation from it. You're operating from outside of its regular bounds. All of a sudden, sure, you can take into consideration the thoughts and feelings and emotions that come from defensive self mechanisms, and you can take those into account if you need to take action. But you're not driven by them anymore. You're not controlled by them anymore. And that's exactly what Einstein was talking about when he's talking about attaining liberation from the self. He's talking about being able to push it aside, being able to exist from a space that is deeper, more profound, more independent of the brain's simple processes that want to lead you around by the nose. Okay? So anyway, hope this message finds you guys well. If you want to understand more about that stuff, pick up Mind Hacking Happiness. I'm told it's one of the best books on the human mind currently in print. I'm not going to argue with that because I really wanted it to be, but this does explain everything about your human mind so you can take control of it and change what it does and attain liberation from the self. Anyway, hope this finds you well. Talk to you guys soon. Peace. And guys, don't forget to share this shit.